Heads up everybody, my name is Sentinel Gray. I've been playing a lot of Valorant recently, and I wanted to make this guide for Sage to teach players roughly how she should be used. Reason being is because there is a glaringly obvious difference between people who don't know how, or just outright don't use her abilities, and people who roughly know how she's supposed to be played. This, by no way, shape, or form, is supposed to be the be-all, end-all definitive way to play Sage. This is a tips and tricks more than anything, and my plan is to make it so that no matter how much she is buffed or nerfed, you can play her remotely the same way from what I say in this video. First is her barrier orb. This thing, whenever you put it down, creates a large wall that's able to pretty much block off any choke point on any map in the entire game. You can kind of use this to boost yourself up on a couple of tall boxes in case you want to try and get a vertical angle on the enemy team, but that's up to your discretion. Keep in mind though, this wall not only has a timer for how long it could stay up, but each of the 4 sections of the wall have individual hit points, so you or your enemies can bring part of the wall down. Something else I should mention about Sage's wall. You may notice in the game there are some boxes or walls in the game that you can shoot through to get at your opponents. Sage's wall is no exception. However, treat Sage's wall as an object that's very difficult to penetrate, so only the corners of it can really be shot through. Though I wouldn't always count on that being the case, a clear line of sight to your target is always the best bet. Second is Sage's slow orb. This one you throw out like a grenade, and whenever it lands on an object, it lays out a layer of ice that slows whoever walks on it, whether it is you, your team, or the enemy. 2 things you should know about this. First is that when you throw the orb out and it hits off a surface, the momentum stays until the orb hits a second surface. Once the orb hits a second object, whether it be a wall, a box, or another character, the momentum almost instantly dies and pretty much falls directly where it hit the second surface. The second thing is that when traveling through the slow field at normal running speed, you slow all the way down to walking speed and create an icy footstep sound effect so that the enemy can hear you while you're traveling through it. Additionally, if you choose to actually walk through the slow field, your walk speed is cut in half, but you don't make any noise. Third, you have arguably the most useful thing in Sage's arsenal, her healing orb. No matter how far you are away from an ally, if you have a clear line of sight with them, you start a heal over time which can be interrupted by only taking damage. At the time of filming this video, the orb will heal you to a maximum health of 100 with no overheal and no armor restoration. Whether that changes in the future, I do not know, but basically plan accordingly. Sage's last ability, and her ultimate, is Resurrection. As the name suggests, you can resurrect a downed ally who comes back at full health with no shields. One thing to note is that if somebody picks up your ally's weapon after they're dead, they only get rezzed with a sidearm and a knife, which means they either have to find a new gun or deal with what they've got. It's kind of something you want to keep in mind depending on who you want to get back up while you're fighting. Sage is not a defensive character only. She can actually be utilized very well on attack depending on the map or bomb site or whatever situation. The one thing she is meant to do, I would argue more so than healing, is to delay or discourage the enemy from entering a certain site or zone or whatever you call it. This tactic can be used in either attack or defense, as well as using her wall to protect your team when pushing into a site to plant a bomb. This is why I believe that you can without a doubt cripple a team if you want to play super aggressive as Sage and not use any of her abilities. If you want to go out and be bloodthirsty, pick one of the duelists. Not literally the only healer in the game. Seriously. Anyway, with that in mind, there are a few points on each map that you can highly utilize Sage's wall and slow orb together to prevent the enemy from breaking through, and if anything, you can certainly slow down their rush. So I've taken some time to take each of the currently available maps and added good places to use Sage's wall orb. Now these aren't 100% foolproof wall placements, but hopefully these maps will give you a relatively good idea on how you can place Sage's barriers to give your team a bit of an advantage. The reason why I don't show areas with the slow orb, in case you're wondering, is because arguably Sage's wall is the most difficult thing about her. Once you learn to use her wall effectively, slow orbs will just come naturally. One of the greatest examples I can give you is using Sage's wall and slow to gain control of the middle of the map, Split. You can effectively either stop the enemy team from pushing through and gain control of mid, or slow them down long enough to let other members of your team provide backup and defend the middle. The reason why this is so important for Split, maybe more so than other maps, is because of the options the attacking team has when having control of mid. From mid on Split, you can easily go to either side with ease and cut off an enemy team from each other. Think about whenever you use Sage. Zone control is always key. Thank you guys for watching. A thumbs up is always appreciated, and if you want to see more, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you have an idea for a character that you want to see in the future, or if you want me to base my videos on a specific map and how to maybe play that map a little bit better, just let me know. I think I'm going to be starting to do these from now on because I'm actually having a lot of fun doing this one. So, thank you guys so much. I'll see you all next time. Remember, keep your heads up. Be kind to each other. Bye now.
He's also an idiot. Yo, it was great. That was dirty.
Gray.
Great. What? That was awesome.